Revenge films.
My next-door neighbor has a reputation for asking for things in our neighborhood. I live with my husband and our 5-year-old daughter. My neighbor is a single mom who also has a 5-year-old daughter. The things she says are so unbelievable sometimes that I think she might be a little crazy. My husband and I had 2 cars. As our daughter grew up, we replaced one of the cars with a large SUV. I don't know where she got the idea, but she said, "Let's share that car. You'll pay for the car, the insurance, and the maintenance, right? I only need to drive it on the weekends," she said. Of course, I told her no, I can't do that. My husband and I use the car often, and we need the car to go on family weekend trips. It's okay, you have 2 cars. You have to make the best use of them. I don't need you to decide that for me. We've already bought the car. Isn't it weird that you want us to share the car with you while covering insurance and maintenance? I know, but I'm a single mother trying to raise a daughter. Don't we deserve some benefits? You're so stingy, Sophia. It's unbelievable how she would ask to share a car with someone who's not her family. It doesn't make any sense for us to agree to her request. But she didn't stop there. She also kept asking me to give my daughter stuff to her daughter. Hey, Sophia, I saw your cute dress at the mall. Why don't you buy it for your daughter? What? Why would I do that? Because if you give it to my daughter as a hand-me-down, my daughter will get something that fits her. Why don't you buy it yourself? Why ask me? I told you so many times that I'm a single mother. How many times do I have to remind you that? Oh, and that outfit your daughter wore the other day was very nice, too. My mother bought that for my daughter. Oh, really? Since your daughter has worn it already, why not give it to my daughter? I'm not gonna do that. My mother bought the outfit for my daughter as a present. Why would I give it away? But your daughter has worn it already, right? She should let my daughter have it now. What the heck are you talking about? After that, I started to avoid her as much as possible. Since she couldn't reach me, she made her daughter ring my doorbell. And she pretended to apologize and came into my home. She once said to me, "Your daughter wants to play with my daughter, right? I'll let my daughter play with your daughter. In exchange, can you borrow me your husband?" My husband is 5 years younger than me. I'm 34 and he's 29. People in my neighborhood all agree my husband is a handsome guy. My neighbor is 26 years old and seems to be going after my husband. At first, I replied, "I can't lend my husband to you. He's not a thing." But she wouldn't stop asking. She tried to come into my home whenever possible. She'd bring me the neighborhood watch form and talk to me about trivial things. So I told her, "My husband is my husband. I don't like it when you say things like borrowing my husband." I thought I made myself quite clear. But she said, "He could have been my husband if he had met me first, all right?" That was the most creepy and absurd thing I've ever heard. By the way, it was my husband who approached me first. It's not like I tricked him into marriage or something. You can't have children anymore, can you? I'll have kids with him. Huh? What are you talking about? You'll be 35 next year, right, Sophia? Don't you know it's difficult for women to have children after 35? But I can. That's prejudice. It's also very disrespectful to other women. Many women over 35 got pregnant. Your husband must want to have more kids, but he can't tell you. I'm much closer in age to him, so I'll have more common interests with him than an old woman like you. I was so angry and couldn't stand her anymore. I want you to get out of my house and stay out of my life. Don't ever talk to me again. Then I cut her off. She said a lot of nasty things to me after that, but I ignored her completely. I was so relieved when she finally got tired and stopped. 7 months later, I got pregnant again. In fact, I was pretty depressed after my neighbor called me old. Then I found my period didn't come on time. At first, I thought my period had stopped due to stress. I went to my OBGYN and was told I was pregnant. I didn't want my neighbor to find out, so I didn't tell other people about my pregnancy. My husband was super excited about our second child. He made a long list of names and bought a lot of toys. He already loved the baby so much before the baby was born. One day, my neighbor saw my pregnant belly. She soon realized that I was pregnant. What? Are you pregnant? Yes, I just found out recently. She widened her eyes and said, "Why are you pregnant? I'm the one who's supposed to have your husband's baby." Then she suddenly ran to me and pushed me down. I fell hard on the concrete ground. Ow! I hope you have a miscarriage. Then I'll have my chance of having a baby with your husband. I covered my stomach and screamed desperately, "Somebody help! I'm pregnant!" My neighbor had already run away while I screamed for help. Then a neighbor heard me and called an ambulance immediately. I went straight into labor. Luckily, even though it was a premature labor, I was able to safely give birth to a beautiful baby girl. My husband also came to the hospital. He breathed a sigh of relief when he saw us.
I think my heart stopped for a few seconds when I heard the news.
My husband couldn't forgive what our neighbor did to me. He contacted various people and went to talk to her parents. After I was discharged from the hospital, my neighbor's parents dragged her to our home. Her father apologized to us profusely.
"I'm so sorry for what my daughter has done. It was absolutely unforgivable. I know I can't put a price on life, but I'll do whatever it takes to make my daughter pay,"
he said. Thank goodness I was already in my last trimester when she pushed me. I wouldn't have even gone into premature labor if I had been in my second trimester. Then my neighbor's father said,
"My daughter and granddaughter will move out of town. They'll move in with us so we can keep a close eye on my daughter from now on."
Huh? What are you talking about? Sophia's husband and I are destined to be together. I bet this woman cheated on him and had a baby with another guy. My neighbor's father slapped her as hard as he could. She lost her balance and slammed onto the shoe rack.
"You still don't get it! You're stalking people! On top of that, you put someone's life and her baby's life in danger! You have no right to talk!"
My neighbor cried hysterically. Her father then pulled her by the hair and basically dragged her out. Honestly, I thought about moving a couple of times because of my neighbor. I was so worried that my children would get hurt one day. A few days later, my neighbor moved out. My neighbor's father also deposited a large amount of compensation into my bank account. Rumor has it that her daughter is now living with her parents. But in order to repay the money to her father, my neighbor started to work at a factory and live in the provided dormitory. I hear she has to work many hours of overtime every day on the assembly line. Hope I'll never have a neighbor like her ever again.
How was today's video? If you enjoyed it, please subscribe, like, and leave a comment. Stay tuned for more.